Good morning, dear students. Today we can study about bacteria, some basic features of bacteria and cell wall structure of bacteria. Bacteria, they are prokaryotic organism. They came into existence in this world about 3.8 billion years ago, and their evolution in this world is the first step in the evolution of true cellular life forms, and they are largest inhabitants in the world in terms of number, and they are found everywhere in this world, so they show a ubiquitous distribution, and they are found in diverse environments both in harsh and normal habitats, and they form an important component of food chain, and they play a vital role in biogeochemical cycle. Morphology of bacteria. Bacteria occurs in different shape, like rod-shaped bacteria are there, filamentous spiral shaped bacteria are there, then spherical shaped bacteria are there, and some bacteria are pleomorphic. That means they can attain different shape within a single culture. Then rod shaped bacteria, they are commonly called bacilli, and when two rod shaped bacteria come close together, they are called diplobacilli. When a group of rod shaped bacteria, they lie close each other, then they are called streptobacilli. And then the spherical shaped bacteria, they are called cocci. When two spherical shaped cocci come close together, they are called diplococci. And when a chain of spherical shaped bacteria lie close to each other, then they are called streptococci. And when a grape-like arrangement of this spherical shaped bacterial cells occurs, then it is called staphylococci. Then spiral shaped bacteria, they are mostly comma shaped. Example is Vibrio cholerae, and as we already said, pleomorphic bacteria are there. That means that these sort of bacteria can attain different shape within a single colony. So they show various morphological structures within a single culture. So this is a diagrammatic representation of different shapes of bacteria, and here we can see the cocci or the spherical shaped bacteria. Then when two spherical shaped bacteria are there, then it is called a diplococci. When four are there, it is called a tetra. When a chain of bacteria, spherical bacteria are there, then it is called a streptococci. And staphylococci means a grape-like arrangement of bacterial, spherical shaped bacterial cells. And when the rod-shaped bacteria are arranged in the form of a chain, it is called a streptobacilli. And Bacillus anthracis, which is the causative organism for anthrax, it is having a streptobacilli arrangement. Up to 4 cells are being arranged in a stretch. Then some rod-shaped bacteria possessing flagellae. An example is Salmonella typhi. Then Clostridium botulinum. It is responsible for causing the botulism disease, and it is a spore-forming bacteria, and it is also having the rod shape. And comma-shaped bacteria, they are called spirals or Vibrio. Vibrio cholerae is an example. Then again Spirilla, it is also having comma shape. Then filamentous bacteria, example is spirochetes. So this filament Treponema pallidum. Treponema pallidum is a filamentous bacteria. Then we are coming to the bacterial cell wall structure. So bacterial cell wall is a component of its cell envelope. Bacterial cell envelope, it is composed of both cell wall and plasma membrane. And bacterial cell wall, it is a semi-rigid non-cellulosic structure which is seen outside the cell membrane or the plasma membrane. We know that the plant cell and fungi possess bacterial cell. Possess cell wall in addition to bacteria. So bacterial cell wall, the peculiarity is that it is non-cellulosic structure. Function of bacterial cell wall. Bacterial cell wall provides structural integrity to the bacterial cell. It helps to maintain a characteristic shape to bacteria, and it prevents the bacterial cell from bursting due to osmosis. As we know, bacteria, they are living in or they are always living in an environment filled with moisture. So there is a chance for many fluids to enter into the bacterial cell by osmosis, and so the cell have the chance to get burst due to the presence of excessive amount of fluids, and the cell wall protect the bacterial cell from bursting, and also the cell wall protect the bacterial cell from the internal pressure that is being accumulated inside the cell due to the presence of a larger concentration of materials inside the cell. As we know, bacteria, they are very small organism, but they have to perform all the life activities. So they have to accumulate a lot of proteins and other solutes for this purpose. So the internal concentration and internal pressure will be very high when compared to that of the external environment. So the cell wall protect bacteria from this internal pressure caused due to the accumulation of various organic materials inside the cell. And so the cell wall, that it is a must for the bacterial survival. So we are employing so many antibiotics that can specially interfere with the cell wall synthesis and thereby killing the infectious bacteria. For example, we are employing antibiotics like penicillin and cephalosporin for this purpose. And the human tear, it is also having an enzyme called lysozyme. It is also capable of digesting this bacterial cell wall, thereby inhibiting the bacterial growth. Next is composition of bacterial cell wall. So bacterial cell wall, it is composed of peptidoglycan. Peptidoglycan, it is a combination of polysaccharide and protein. So peptidoglycan, it is a polymer made up of protein and polysaccharide. And the peptidoglycan backbone, it is composed of polysaccharide. So the peptidoglycan, it is made up of polysaccharide backbone to which these protein molecules are being linked. So this polysaccharide backbone, it is again consisting of two components, that is NAG and NAM. NAG is N-acetyl glucosamine and NAM is N-acetyl muramic acid. So NAG and NAM, they are two components or two polysaccharides that form the backbone of the peptidoglycan, and these NAG and NAM, they are present in equal amounts. And to this NAG and NAM, this tetrapeptide polypeptide proteins is being attached. So they are being seen as either as side chain or as cross links. And this peptides linked with this muramic acid, they vary in their composition. Sometimes tetrapeptide is present, sometimes only a tripeptide is been present. Like the main amino acid present in this peptide will be glutamic acid, alanine and lysine or diaminopimelic acid. So glutamic acid, alanine, lysine and diaminopimelic acid form the peptide linkage of this peptidoglycan polymer. Then the cell wall of bacteria contain a unique type of peptidoglycan called murin. So murin is a unique type of peptidoglycan that is present in bacterial cell wall. So the peptidoglycan, it is the main constituent of the bacterial cell wall. It is a polymer composed of a polysaccharide part and a protein part. Polysaccharide part form the backbone. The polysaccharide is composed of two types of material, that is N-acetyl glucosamine and N-acetyl muramic acid, and they are present in equal amounts and they are linked to a tetrapeptide, and this tetrapeptide consists of amino acids like glycine, glutamic acid, alanine, lysine and diaminopimelic acid. And the unique peptidoglycan that is present in bacteria is called murin. Then the functions of bacterial peptidoglycan. So peptidoglycan, it is the major component of the bacterial cell wall. So it is responsible for providing rigidity to the bacterial cell wall. It also helps in maintaining the bacterial cell shape. And it is a barrier, but it is relatively porous and it is permeable to small substances, and through its three-dimensional meshwork it allows the inward movement of minerals, amino acids and water. and it also permits the outward movement of waste materials. So these are the functions of bacterial peptidoglycan. It provides rigidity to the bacterial cell wall. It helps in maintaining the shape. It is porous and it is permeable to small substances like minerals, amino acids and water, and it also permits the outward movement of waste materials from the bacterial cell wall. Next is gram staining. Gram staining, it is a technique which was been introduced by a Danish scientist named Christian Gram in 1884, and this is a staining technique which helps to differentiate the whole bacteria into two, that is gram positive bacteria and gram negative bacteria, and a special dye called crystal violet stain is being used for this purpose. And as the name suggests, crystal violet, it is having a violet color. And after staining procedure, we observe this bacterial cells with the help of microscope, and under microscope when the bacterial cell appears differently stained, and those bacteria which appears in the color of crystal violet, that is violet or purple color, they are called gram positive bacteria, and the bacteria which appeared in red color, they are called gram negative bacteria. So on basis of this gram staining, we are able to differentiate bacteria on the basis of their color into gram positive bacteria and gram negative bacteria. So we will go through the details of gram staining procedure and gram staining principle after studying this gram positive bacterial cell wall and gram negative bacterial cell wall. So gram positive bacterial cell wall. So gram positive bacteria, it is having a cell wall with a 15 to 18 nanometer thickness, and it is composed of 40 layers of peptidoglycan. So the peptidoglycan is highly thick here, so the cell wall is also highly thick here, and 95% of the gram positive bacterial cell wall is composed of this peptidoglycan. And in addition to this peptidoglycan, gram positive bacteria is having a special material that is called teichoic acid, and this teichoic acid, it is present in different layers of this peptidoglycan, and it helps to provide antigenic function to this bacteria. And mainly two types of teichoic acid are present, ribitol teichoic acid and glycerol teichoic acid. And teichoic acid, it is usually seen linked to the membrane lipids, and when it is linked to the membrane lipids, it is called lipoteichoic acid. Lipoteichoic acid. So gram positive cell wall, it is highly thick, having 15 to 18 nanometer thickness, and it is composed of 40 layers of peptidoglycan, and peptidoglycan form the major constituent. About 95% of the bacterial gram positive cell wall is composed of this peptidoglycan, and in addition to peptidoglycan, it is having teichoic acid. Two types of teichoic acid are there, ribitol teichoic acid and glycerol teichoic acid. They are found along with this peptidoglycan, and sometimes they are also seen attached with this lipids, membrane lipids, and then this teichoic acid is called lipoteichoic acid, and this teichoic acid is responsible for providing antigenic function to the bacteria. Gram negative bacterial cell wall. Gram negative bacteria, it is having a relatively thin cell wall, and it is having single layer of peptidoglycan, and only 10% of the gram negative cell wall is composed of peptidoglycan. So peptidoglycan layer in this gram negative bacteria is very thin. So only a single layer is present. So altogether the cell wall is also very thin because of the absence of a large layers of peptidoglycan. Only 10% of the gram negative cell wall is composed of peptidoglycan. So in order to provide additional protection to the thin gram negative cell wall, it is having another membrane called outer membrane, which is seen outside the cell wall. So this outer membrane, it is very unique to this gram-negative bacteria, and it is having a unique component called lipopolysaccharide or LPS. It is highly toxic to animals, and because of the presence of this outer membrane, it is having a great advantage to the gram-negative bacteria because it is very resistant to the antibiotics. So gram-negative bacteria, they are very resistant to the antibiotics due to the presence of this outer membrane. And as we have already mentioned that gram-positive bacteria, they can be easily killed by applying antibiotics like penicillin, because this penicillin will directly interfere with the cell wall synthesis. So these type of antibiotics are ineffective for this gram-negative bacteria, because this gram-negative bacteria, the cell wall is protected by another additional layer called outer membrane. Then outer membrane of gram-negative cell wall. So here we are studying the basic features of this outer membrane. Outer membrane, it is a lipid bilayer. It is having 7 nanometer thickness. It is composed of 4 components, namely phospholipids, lipoproteins, lipopolysaccharides, and proteins. These proteins are again of 2 types, porine proteins and surface proteins. So first one is phospholipids. Phospholipids, they are seen on the inner layer of the outer membrane. So the phospholipids, they are seen in the inner layer. It is located inner to the outer membrane. So it is present in the inner layer of the outer membrane. Then lipoproteins, they help to connect the outer membrane to the peptidoglycan layer. So it acts as a connecting link between the outer membrane and the peptidoglycan layer. So lipoproteins, it helps to connect the outer membrane with the just underlying peptidoglycan cell wall. Then the major constituent is the LPS. So LPS, it is the lipopolysaccharide. It is the major component and it provides structural integrity to the bacterial cell wall, and it helps to protect the bacteria from various chemicals. So this outer membrane, major constituent of this outer membrane is the LPS, lipopolysaccharide. So in the outer membrane, 4 constituents are mainly present, that are phospholipids, lipoproteins, lipopolysaccharides, and proteins. And these phospholipids, they are seen on the inner layer of the outer membrane, and the lipoproteins, they help to connect the outer membrane to the peptidoglycan layer, and LPS, they are the major constituents, and they help to maintain the structural integrity of the bacteria, and it also protect bacteria from chemical attack. So we have to deal with this lipopolysaccharides in detail. So lipopolysaccharide or LPS, as we said, it is one of the major component of the outer membrane in gram-negative bacteria. This LPS, it is again composed of 3 components, namely lipid A, core oligosaccharide, and O antigen. So this lipopolysaccharide is composed of lipid A, core oligosaccharide, and O antigen. This O antigen is otherwise known as O polysaccharide. So lipid A, it is the lipid portion of the lipopolysaccharide. It is seen embedded in the membrane. So lipid A is seen embedded in the outer membrane, and it is the lipid portion of the lipopolysaccharide. So it is called a lipid A. So lipid LPS, we have already mentioned that it is having toxic properties. So it is known as endotoxin. This toxic property of this LPS is mainly due to the presence of this lipid A. So lipid A is responsible for the toxicity of the gram-negative bacteria. So LPS is called as an endotoxin. When this bacteria get lysed by the host immune system, this lipid A get fragmented and they are released into the circulation of the host body, and because of the toxicity of this lipid A, it is causing fever, diarrhea, and other abnormalities to the infected individual, and sometimes it is fatal also and cause endotoxic shock, which is otherwise referred to as septic shock. So this lipid it is highly toxic to the infected individual. So once this gram positive bacteria get lysed inside a host cell, then this lipid get fragmented and it will enter into the circulation and cause fever, diarrhea, and this endotoxic shock called septic shock will occur, and it is highly fatal to the individual. So that is about the lipid part of the lipopolysaccharide. Next is core oligosaccharide. It directly attaches to the lipid and it is mainly composed of sugar. So core oligosaccharide, as the name suggests, it is made up of sugars, and it get directly attached with the lipid component of the LPS. Then next component is the last one is O antigen or O polysaccharide. It is a repetitive glycan polymer which keeps the LPS smooth. This function of this O antigen is to keep this LPS, this lipopolysaccharide, smooth. And this O antigen, it is usually seen exposed on the surface of the bacterial cell wall. So in case of gram negative bacterial cell wall, this O antigen is usually seen exposed in the bacterial cell surface. So it is easily being recognized by the host antibodies. So host antibodies can easily recognize the O antigen exposed to the exposed in the cell wall of the exposed to the outer region of the cell wall of gram negative bacteria. So this is about the lipopolysaccharide. So lipopolysaccharide, it is composed of lipid, core oligosaccharide, and O antigen or O polysaccharide. Lipid, it is the lipid portion. It is responsible for the toxicity. And this core oligosaccharide, it is connected to the lipid and it is made up of sugars, and O antigen, it is made up of repetitive glycan polymer, and it is providing smoothness to the LPS, and it is usually seen exposed to the outer surface, which help the host to recognize the host antibodies to recognize the particular bacteria. The last is the proteins that are present in the outer membrane. We have mentioned that two types of proteins are there, porine proteins and surface protein. Porine proteins are pore forming proteins that span the outer membrane. So it act as channels which help in the passage of solute through the outer membrane. So porine proteins, they act as channels for the passage of proteins through the outer membrane, and the surface proteins, they are unique to bacteria and they will differ from one bacterial species to another bacterial species. So it helps in the identification of bacterial strains. Then these are all about the outer membrane structure of gram negative bacteria. And in between the outer membrane and the peptidoglycan, and between the peptidoglycan and the cytoplasmic membrane, there is a gelatinous material present that is called periplasm. So periplasm, it is a gelatinous material present between the outer membrane and the peptidoglycan, and the peptidoglycan and the cytoplasmic membrane. And there this periplasmic space, it is composed of a wide variety of enzymes that helps in the breakdown of nutrients and also act as chemoreceptors for chemotaxis. So periplasmic space is loaded with a lot of enzymes which helps in the breakdown of nutrients, and also they act as they have proteins that act as chemoreceptors for chemotaxis. Chemotaxis means chemical attraction. Okay. So these are all about the structure of bacterial cell wall. So we have dealt with both gram positive as well as gram negative bacterial cell wall structure. Now there is a diagrammatic representation of this cell wall structure. So gram positive bacteria, the yellow portion shown is the peptidoglycan layer of the gram positive bacteria. This layer is highly thick, it is having up to 40 layers, and below that we can see the cytoplasmic membrane, And the right side we can see the gram negative bacterial cell wall, and here the peptidoglycan layer, the yellow portion is very thin, and so it is having an additional layer on the top that is called the outer membrane. So this is a simple diagram just to make you understand the concept. And this is the gram positive bacterial cell wall structure. So the above the cytoplasmic membrane we can see the cell wall. Cell wall is composed of peptidoglycan, 40 layers of peptidoglycan layer is there, and in addition to peptidoglycan, this gram positive bacteria, they are composed of teichoic acid. When it is attached to the lipid, then it is called a lipoteichoic acid. Then cell wall associated proteins were there. So this is the structure of gram positive bacterial cell wall, gram positive bacterial cell wall structure. Next is gram negative bacterial cell wall structure. So gram negative bacterial cell wall, so the peptidoglycan layer is very thin, which is green, which is given in a blue shade here above the cytoplasmic membrane. Then above the peptidoglycan layer we can see the periplasmic space also here, and above the peptidoglycan layer we can see the outer membrane. Outer membrane layer is composed of it is a lipid bilayer, and it is composed of this LPS, then porine proteins are there. Then this O antigens are not marked here. O antigens is the outer proteinaceous material that is been the outer the green colored material that been attached to this LPS is the O antigen. Then so this is the cell wall structure of gram negative bacteria. Peptidoglycan layer is very thin, so it is having an outer membrane above the peptidoglycan. Now we can go through the staining procedures for gram staining. So gram staining procedures, there are 4 basic steps in gram staining. So first we have to take a slide that is having the bacterial culture. We can take a bacterial culture from curd. You have already done it in your UG class, and this smeared curd is being taken in a clean glass slide, and to which we are applying the primary stain called crystal violet. And crystal violet is being added and kept for 1 minute, and then we have to add gram-sidin. Gram-sidin is actually a mordant. Mordant means fixative. It helps to fix this crystal violet stain into the bacterial cell wall. And then we are adding, after 1 minute, we are adding the decolorizing agent. Either we are adding alcohol or acetone. So then after that we will rapidly wash the slide with distilled water. Then again we will counter stain with the safranin, and again keep it for 1 minute. And the safranin, it is a red colored stain. So this is the staining procedure. First we are adding crystal violet, then keeping it for 1 minute. Then we are adding gram staining, again keep it for 1 minute. Then we are decolorizing it with either alcohol or acetone. Then we are washing it, and then again we are counter staining with a secondary stain called safranin, which is red colored. And after 1 minute we are again washing, and washing the slide and observing in 45x. So that is the staining procedure, gram staining procedure. And after observing the slide in microscope, if it is a gram positive bacteria, it will appear in violet color, and if it is a gram negative bacteria, it will appear in the red color. Red color is the color of safranin. Why this happens? So that is been indicated in this principle of gram staining. So crystal violet it dissociate in aqueous solution to Cv plus, that is crystal violet positive ions, and chloride negative ions. So crystal violet, that stain, it dissociate into Cv plus ions and chloride minus ions. These ions, both these ions, they will penetrate both the gram positive as well as gram negative cell wall. So gram positive, this Cv plus ions that will interact with it, as it is a positively charged ion, crystal violet ions will react with the negatively charged components of the bacterial cell, and then it will give purple color to the, or the violet color to the bacterial cell. And then we are applying the iodine, which is a fixative. So iodine, it is I minus, it is negatively charged, so it interact with the Cv positive and form complexes with the Cv positive, and these complexes are very large. So in the peptidoglycan, we are already mentioned that peptidoglycan is having a mesh like structure, so a network like structure. So in between that there are gaps, so these complexes were formed in between these gaps. But in gram negative bacteria, the gap is very small because only a thin layer of peptidoglycan is present. And when after gram iodine, we are treating it with a decolorizing agent, either we are adding alcohol or acetone. So what happens is that this alcohol or acetone, it will react with the lipid part. So the outer membrane, it is having a lipopolysaccharide. So what happens is that the lipopolysaccharide will wash away. So the Cv iodine complexes are get washed with this alcohol in case of gram negative bacteria. But in case of gram positive bacteria, the lipid component is very limited there. They are having more peptidoglycan, and this crystal violet iodine complexes get trapped inside the peptidoglycan layer. So what happens is that they will appear violet or purple color. And when we are counter staining with safranin, the color has already been lost in the case of gram negative bacteria, because this Cv iodine complex has been washed because of the alcoholic treatment. But so they will absorb the color of the safranin, which is red colored. So they appears red color after staining with this safranin. But in case of gram positive bacteria, they are retaining the color of the crystal violet due to the presence of this peptidoglycan layer. So when we are counter staining even with this safranin, what happens is that safranin has no space for attaching to the cell wall in the gram positive bacteria, because already crystal violet get attached there. So safranin will washed off during our washing with distilled water in the final stage. So gram positive bacteria appear purple color, but gram negative bacteria will appear red color. So that is the basic principle behind gram staining. So I think this much is clear for all of you. So thank you.